Grocery stores across the country begin to no longer accept cash, digital currency only. What is this? Now, before we get into the video, I do want to take a moment and thank our sponsor, ES Power Drink, for not only supporting this channel, but helping me support my health. You know, I've had a heart condition, I had a weight issue a couple years ago. I was even on a cane about this time last year, and because of a series of events, including this, which allows me to put down Trinidad scorpion peppers in a drink, and the value that they have to your immune system, to your ability to lose weight and burn fat, to your ability to build muscle, your ability to sleep better, be more relaxed. It has benefits that are tremendous. And I don't usually I've never had a drink as a sponsor, but this one specifically because it has benefited me tremendously in many aspects. You look at a video a year ago that I did and you will see the difference. So that link is below. By the end of 2020, due to COVID, there were many cities across this country that just simply weren't taking cash. New York City specifically passed policy during that time that you weren't allowed to accept or take cash, digital currency only. Now, I want to kind of speak to the idea that we've seen it before. We've already seen major cities say no more cash for now. Ultimately, what we have is we have the FedNow program being launched. Many analysts believe that that's going to replace the dollar, or could potentially replace the dollar. Of course, everything you read about is like, no, of course not. It's just a means of transferring money. It's just a service that the federal government's going to provide for us. So kind of them to do that. But what we're seeing now in grocery stores is, we've all seen it. We kind of saw this evolution of, instead of checkout lines, we now have self-checkout. And that's something that, been around a long time. Problem is they're not taking cash. Most of them, I'd be curious, put it in the comments below. But grocery stores around this country, a vast majority of them, the self-checkout lines, they don't take cash. Digital currency only. In Missouri, even food stamps have now been moved to digital currency. And my local grocery store, when it first kind of caught my eye, was I went to the self-checkout, no cash. There weren't any lanes open, so if I wanted to use cash, I'm sure I could have, but I would have had to gone to customer service and get somebody to open up a register. So, this is just what we're seeing an ease of, it's easier for these companies to do it this way. It's cheaper for them to do it this way. It's easier for them to do it this way. But I believe that there's an underlying threat in it that sure, it's harmless. Okay, I wanted to use cash, but instead I'll pull out my debit card and use that instead. Seems very harmless. However, when you kind of look at how easily it was for the city governments, at the very least, to say, okay, no more cash. Now we're seeing it very difficult to spend cash at grocery stores in general. That and combined with the FedNow program that's being launched, we're really just kind of at that moment in time where no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Meaning we're getting closer to that we ever have. The fact that, a few years ago, you could not have purchased any food in New York City, not just without cash, but also with some sort of documentation showing that you've received certain medical treatments and that sort of thing. This whole thing just said, the thing that worries me the most is, as humans and as Americans, we're letting it happen because of ease of operation. Just like the federal government says, the FedNow program is not meant to replace the dollar. It's meant to make life easier for you. So all these things are designed to make life easier for you. So as you build your kingdom, the Antichrist is building his kingdom. But the kingdom of heaven is being advanced whether you like it or not. God's always in control, but I think it's extremely important that we begin to open our eyes to why can't I spend cash at grocery stores? Why is it that certain cities aren't allowing you to, illegalizing U.S. cash? Why is it that I have to have documentation to buy food in certain cities and places? What is that? It's definitely us submitting to the authority of ultimately what will lead to the Antichrist and the beast system. That's the problem with not being able to pay for your groceries with cash is right now it's an inconvenience to be using cash. A couple years from now might be just, it's not an option at all. And eventually we're getting to the point where because of identity, we're using fingerprints and facial recognition, and we're getting very, very close to that moment in time where no longer you will not be able to buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. This is something that we just have to see is it's right there. It's coming. It's so close. And the fact of the matter is again, the part that worries me is how submissive we are to this authority. We're just like, oh, darn it, I can't pay cash. Well, let me just whip out my debit card. Any thoughts or insight, definitely put that below. I would like to take a moment and say that most people watch this channel, they're not subscribers. Please take a moment, hit that subscribe button. It greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get these messages out. That link is below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, love guns.